The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to guitarist Adam Falcon, who's making his 4th appearance on the show, making him the first musician ever to do so. He's just about to release a new EP called The Light Shines. Stick around. I like this guy. I really like this guy. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, brought to you today by Amazon.com. When you visit MrMedia.com and click on any of the links to purchase books, music, movies, gift certificates, or anything else through our Amazon link, you support this free video podcast. Whenever you need something else from Amazon, please consider returning to MrMedia.com to order it. It doesn't cost you any extra, and we sure appreciate the support. And don't forget, MrMedia.com has more than 1,200 celebrity audio and video interviews archived on the site. That's hundreds upon hundreds of hours free entertainment. Subscribe for free on MrMedia.com, and you'll instantly get an email every time a new interview is posted. You can also watch and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, the Realm Network, and Frequency.com. And if you prefer to just listen, Mr. Media is also available for free on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Blueberry, TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, Podfeed.net, and Player FM. You can subscribe to any of those services and never miss another episode. Finally, you can interact with Mr. Media Interviews on all kinds of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and more. Friend or follow us, we'll friend or follow you back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of drummers who, if they could count to 4, would stand a chance of being invited here as often as Adam Falcon, in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. It's okay if we make drummer jokes, right? They never understand them.
No.
You know how there are just some people who make better house guests than others? They're the ones who light up your home when they arrive at the door, and when it's time to go, you're already counting down the time until they come back. Guests on a podcast are like that too. Guitarist Adam Falcon is especially like that. Today is the 4th time that Adam has taken time from his schedule to join us, and it's always special when he does. In fact, the last time he was here, to promote an appearance in Miami at Art Deco Weekend with drummer Keith LeBlanc and living color bass player Doug Wimbish, was one of the most extraordinary Mr. Media episodes ever. I mean that seriously. You got to see this. And if you missed it the first time, check out the link below. You got to see this. A great day on this show. Now, since his last appearance, Adam showed up with a program called Stories Behind the Songs, the music of Adam Falcon, tracing and explaining his career in music. And Adam is about to release a new EP, The Light Shines, and it is a perfect follow-up to his last album, Bohemian 959, a smooth blend of blues, jazz, and rock. But don't take my word for it. Adam will preview 2 songs exclusively during today's show. So Adam Falcon, my friend, welcome back to Mr. Media.
Thank you, Bob. It's good to be back.
Great to see you. Great to have you. So tell me a little bit about Stories Behind the Songs, the music of Adam Falcon. This was a one-time presentation?
Yeah, it started out, I did a performance, a show at a theater called the Union Arts Center, and the curator there had invited me back to do this special show that she had in mind, but we were trying to figure out what exactly we would do. And so she said, well, why don't you try to do some sort of retrospect of your career? Because in conversation, she said, you seem like you had a pretty interesting career starting from when you were a kid up to an adult. So the gear started to turn, and we put together this thing called Stories Behind the Music. And so I pretty much, it was a one-man performance where we had gotten together, the curator and I, and we scripted a story pretty much where I would tell from when I was 6 years old up to the present time, where everything just one story after the next, one story after the next, from my childhood to adulthood.
And tell me about that first song. It was Elvis Presley, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was a little kid, and the first song I remember hearing, we had walked past a record shop, and it was a song, an Elvis Presley song called Teddy Bear. And I remember I had begged my mom to pick up this record, and I must have played the record to death, to the point where every time I would have her play it for me, she'd have to stop what she was doing and come over and get the record and play it. So then finally she decided to take the 45 and put a drop of nail polish on it. So at that time I couldn't read, so I was only able to see the nail polish, and that was the side that had Teddy Bear on it. And so I'd always find this record with the nail polish and put it on and play it and play it and play it and play it to death, you know. So that actually was the beginning of the show, per se, where I'd had the record and I showed it to the audience, I explained it to the audience, and we actually, I joke around and tell people this was the first time I was opening for Elvis, because we actually had a YouTube video of Elvis performing the song Teddy Bear, and then, you know, I had the record, and that started the whole show off. So that was actually the first song that I remember, and then from there it sparked other things like listening to Chuck Berry and Little Richard and the whole rock and roll scene, per se.
So was the show sort of like performance art kind of thing? Were there other videos and other graphics, or?
No, that was actually something I had just thought of, you know, because that was my first recollection of music over the radio. But it was a one-man performance, and I did invite some other musician friends to join me on a couple of the songs, because there was a point in time where I used to do a lot of sessions for a lot of people, and so I had one a friend of mine, a singer-songwriter, joined me on a song, and I actually backed him up. You know, I told the story about how I used to be a session player, and I used to back up certain artists. And so we had sort of switched roles. He had played behind me on a couple of songs playing bass. And then he sang a few songs, and I accompanied him on a few songs. So that was a lot of fun. So that was one aspect of it. Then there was another friend of mine, a cellist. She actually performed a couple of songs and played with me on some things. And then I had another featured vocalist, a great performer by the name of Martha Redbone, and she sang with me. She actually performed on a couple of the CDs that we did in the past, and so I invited her to come and join me on a couple of songs. So it was sort of like a joint effort where I had a few guest artists come up and perform with me on a few songs.
I was just thinking I'd love to ask you to play a few licks of Teddy Bear, but it occurred to me that that would cause huge clearance problems for us with YouTube and everyone else, so I won't do that. Was there a lot of music in your house growing up?
Pretty much. My dad was from New Orleans, and he had records from Louis Armstrong and Louis Jordan, Fats Domino, and my mom, pretty much her collection was old Jackie Wilson records. She liked a lot of the East Coast R&B stuff. I guess that was pretty much from the Midwest, I guess, out of Detroit. But my mom grew up in Brooklyn, so I grew up listening to a lot of Aretha Franklin records and Sam Cooke and the whole gamut.
I think I would have enjoyed growing up in your house. Where was that, by the way?
I grew up in the Bronx.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you start? When was the first time that you actually played, in front of an audience?
The first thing I could remember, a good friend of mine, he and I used to play together every weekend. I'd go over to his house actually every Friday after school. I'd drag my amplifier, my guitar down to his house. He was a drummer, and we'd go in his basement and we would play from maybe like 7:30 until about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, until his mom would chase me out of the door. So she said, if you're going to come over here every weekend and play, then you've got to come over one weekend and play for our party. So she had like a group of her friends come over, and we just performed for her parties. That was the first recollection of playing in front of an audience. It may have been an audience of 10, maybe, of her family and friends. And I may have been like 12, 13, something like that. And then from there, high school, high school talent shows and things like that, and sort of moved down on to playing different clubs in the city.
Now, what was that moment where you decided that it's a little it's thrilling and nerve-wracking to perform in front of people but when was that moment you decided that it was more thrilling and less nerve-wracking, that you wanted to keep doing it, or is that ever a battle for you?
Yeah, that's always a battle. That's always a battle. It's sort of like you get that adrenaline rush where you can't wait to get out there and do it. But I guess maybe the first time may have been like a high school talent show, where your buddies are with you and you can't wait to get out there, and then you just see a crowd of familiar faces and you don't know how they're going to take it. You can either get tomatoes thrown at you or they could applaud.
I was just, as you were saying that, I'm remembering my daughter's now a college freshman, but I remember in high school she stunned her mother and me by telling us that she was going to sing in a black box theater kind of thing, a small group, and we were just like, oh God, because neither one of us can carry a tune, and in hearing her in years past, it would be like, oh no, you don't want to do that in public, and we were just so nervous for her, but we went.
Yeah.
And somehow she got up there and she did it, and she sounded awesome. And I mean, people were just crazy for her. And I could never do that, and I still can't. I don't know where that sound in her voice came from.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know. My daughter takes piano lessons, and when I see her at her recitals, it's almost like I get nervous for her, so I can understand, that feeling. It's like, oh, okay, here comes the rough part. Will she get through it? But it always comes together.
It's crazy. I guess you're determined to do it. Now, did you on either the guitar side or the vocal side? Did you do you have formal training? Did you have teachers, or you self-taught? What's the story?
No, I actually had. I started taking formal lessons out of I was maybe about 10 years old. It was a retail music store that had music lessons in the back. And that was the first time I had really started to take serious lessons, I guess you can call them. And from there, I just had maybe one teacher there and then another teacher at another place. And so I've always had like great lessons. And then as years went by, I ended up studying with the great George Benson for a little while, and that was amazing. As far as singing goes, I never really focused a lot on singing. I was a music major in college, and while being in school, I had to take a chorus class. And in the chorus class, it was like this amazing teacher who had heard a tone. She said, you've got like this great tone in your voice and you should develop it more, and blah, blah, blah. And I always, I sort of would shun away from it when I was a kid, and people would say, you need to sing, maybe you should sing. And I never really took it that seriously and until I started to record my own records. And then I said, well, let me step up to the mic and try it. I don't have to pay anybody. I can just go in and sing, without having to pay a singer. So that pretty much was the beginning of the singing for me.
What do you learn from a guy like Benson? I mean, how does someone like that teach you something? What's the method?
It's funny because you learn what you can't do.
Oh, here's you, George.
No, he's a rare breed because he's like one of the greats in my book. He's one of the greats, and he pretty much would show me things and explain different concepts and things. Not so much how to play, but how to approach the guitar. And he would tell me stories about some of the greats that he had met along the way. He told me stories about Wes Montgomery and how Wes Montgomery would do certain things, and Miles Davis and Herbie Hancock. So he told me a lot of stories and how they would approach music on the whole. So it was almost like taking a master class when I'd study with him. So it was pretty much I would just look at him in awe when I'd hear, because he would tell me, John Coltrane would do something like this. and Thelonious Monk would maybe play over this chord this type of way. So it was sort of like I said, a master class and an eye-opening experience just to watch him one-on-one.
Now, one of the things I've really enjoyed over the years having musicians on, particularly guitarists, is to ask about technique, which I understand. I do not. I right up front with this. I do not understand fingering technique at all, but it's fascinating to hear about. So I'm just gonna ask you. I mean, are there things that you do with your own technique that you think that help mark it as different, that makes it stand out? Have you developed something of your own, do you think?
Yes and no. It's not that original. My technique, for the most part, I used to play with a pick, and then as years went on, I got more into almost like a banjo technique, where it's just like a picking type of thing. Instead of using the pick, I use 3 fingers, and then sometimes I just use my thumb, as Wes Montgomery used to use. And that only came about because I'm a left-handed. I'm left-handed, but I play as if I'm a right-handed person, as most right-handed players would play. And so that was a little strange for me to really get used to using the pick. And then one time I just decided not to use it anymore, and I just tried something a little bit different. But I wouldn't say it's that original, because there are a lot of players out there that pretty much do the same thing. And I'm always watching. When I see guys that play without using a pick, I'm always trying to see what they're doing and how I can pick some other things up from them.
How do you decide? Okay, so here's a layman's question. How do you decide when you're, look at me, I'm holding up my hands, but no one's seeing me. How do you decide, with how you're going to handle the chords and the strings on a given song, this song differently from the next song? Is it completely dictated by the music, either because you've written it or it's somebody else's, or are you? I don't know. I mean, how do you make that decision from one song to the next?
It depends. If I'm playing an original piece of music and I'm trying to get something across, then I would just work on that one particular section until I can achieve what I'm hearing in my head. And so I'll try to adapt something to just get that point across. Same thing if I'm playing a piece of music that was written by someone else, or I'm covering someone else's material, then I'll pretty much either go with what's the most natural way of doing it until someone says, okay, can you emphasize this or emphasize that? And then either I'm trying to figure out how to play a chord a little differently in the left hand, or figure out how to play something a little differently in the right hand. So it's pretty much, it depends on by piece, song by song, and idea by idea.
Are there particular players whose technique you still envy after all these years?
Some players. Right now, I've been listening to a lot of different blues artists, and some of the blues artists that I've been listening to, they just use a right hand technique, maybe like Son House, the great blues player Son House would have this particular style. Ry Cooder's got an interesting style. So I'm learning a lot from a lot of blues players that have this technique. Banjo players, a lot of banjo players. I've watched a lot of them, but it's pretty much interesting because a right hand technique, I think, is almost it's almost like as George Benson used to say, it's like a thumbprint. No two people are going to do anything identical. I mean, we could all eat with a fork, but everybody's going to hold the fork differently. Everybody's going to hold the pen differently. So the how you achieve what it is you want to do will still be achieved, but how that person holds the pick or finger a chord or the guitar, playing certain things, that's the objective. But everyone's going to have their own technique, and it's all going to look a little different. I've seen guys play some stuff, and I try to figure, well, how are they even doing that? When I mentioned Wes Montgomery, he would do things just with his thumb that people couldn't do with 3 fingers. You think about this. You may know of Django Reinhardt with his left hand. He only only really had, I think, 3 fingers on his left hand. But he can still do things with his left hand that a lot of players couldn't do with 4 fingers on the left hand, you know. So it's almost like certain people have their own ways that they develop something.
All right. Well, I want to change gears and talk about The Light Shines, but first,
Okay.
I got to ask you: can you just hold up your hands? Can you just show? Look. All right. Let's just let's see the other side. Just so people see those hands. Now, there's no calluses on there, or are there? You tell me.
Yeah, I've got quite a few.
They are real calloused.
Yeah,
I just thought, since what you're showing us, with your hands and the technique, I thought, well, just show everybody your hands. I mean, that's, those are the money makers, right?
Yeah, they are. You know, sometimes I like to work a lot with tools, hand tools, and do a lot of yard work and stuff. So I'm either like watching out that I don't cut a finger off, because I love to do a lot of that stuff. You know, my son's always like watching me use saws and things, and he's like, "Daddy, watch out." So.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I make my living as a writer, and as I've gotten a little older, and I go out and I won't handle power tools anymore.
Right, yeah.
It's just, it's not worth it. It's like, oh, well, I've achieved this, and then, oh, I sliced off a finger.
Yeah.
I'm already a one-handed typist. I mean, so, there's not a lot of room for error.
I know. Believe me.
All right, so let's talk about The Light Shines. We're recording this near the end of February, and I think you had indicated this would probably be out like by mid-March. People be able to order it?
Exactly.
All right, and so what's the why an EP at this point? What is it? Just you have material ready to go? Is it a particular theme to it? Tell us a little about it.
I had started working with these 2 musicians, and we did a tour. We were down in New Orleans. And from New Orleans, we just played together. We did a couple of shows, and things started to gel. And then we went down to St. Bart's, and we did a performance down in St. Bart's for a couple of weeks, and then we got invited back. But we got invited back within like a month's time. So we went down there for 1 month, and we came home for a few weeks and then went back. So during the time that we had off in between those 2 months, the guys decided, well, let's go in the studio and record some of these songs. So we went in and recorded. We recorded 4 songs, five songs at first. And we decided that the stuff really sounded good. We would just continue working together. But at the same time, before I had met these 2 guys, I was working on another full-length CD. So I put that on hold for a while, and we finished up the EP. And then it really was something that I had to think about whether I want to release it, because there were some things that really didn't come out right. And then we went in and redid some of the overdubs and fixed it up a little bit, and it came out sounding really, really great.
Excellent. Okay, so now before you're going to play a song, but can you? I usually don't do a technical correction during the show, but can you tilt your lid on the computer just a little bit more toward you? I want to get your head to go up a little higher. That should be real good, because when you pick up that guitar, first of all, well, after you play the song, we'll talk about the guitar. We've talked about it before. So the first song you're going to play is The Light Shines, which is the title song to the EP. Do you want to set it up for us a little bit? Tell us about it.
Sure. The Light Shines was inspired by the late comedian Bill Hicks. He pretty much was a social critic and satirist, and I had seen this documentary on his life, and he pretty much came from a religious household, but at the same time he shunned religion but not spirituality. He always had like a connection with spirituality. And there was one instance where he and a couple of his buddies had this awakening. They had gone somewhere and actually had taken sort of like this enhanced, if you will, altering experience, and they'd seen this light shine. And so that was sort of like a spiritual awakening for him in a lot of ways. And then shortly before he died, he also had like another vision of things. And at that point in his life, he was pretty much drug free, I guess. And again, there was a vision that he had from a light shine, and so that pretty much summed up a lot of things for me, because I think most people have an experience where it changes a part of their life in one sense or another.
So who would have guessed Adam Falcon would be inspired by Bill Hicks?
Right. Right, I know. That's what was, because in watching that, a lot of times I really wouldn't consider myself to be a real religious person, but at the same time I think I'm pretty spiritual in a lot of ways, and so I was able to relate to that, and I guess without the risk of being cliche-ish, if that's a word, without trying to sound trite, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's pretty much what the song is about. The light shines.
Okay. Well, folks, this is Adam Falcon playing, as he grabs his guitar, playing The Light Shines from his upcoming EP, The Light Shines.
Darkest hour in my time of despair, plagued with affliction, trial and conviction, the light shines somewhere, the light shines somewhere, shine, 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 the light shines, shine, 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 the light shines. Lost in sorrow, look for tomorrow, looking for an answered prayer. Blind desolation, wounded salvation, the light shines somewhere, the light shines somewhere. Shine, 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 the light shines. Shine, 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 the light shines. Clap your hands, 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 clap your hands. Setbacks, the light shines. Hardships, the light shines. Bad breaks, the light shines. Heartaches, the light shines. Shine, 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 the light shines. Shine, 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 the light shines. Shine, 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 the light shines.
Yeah! That is so good. That is so good. I mean, you know, I got to tell you, I was thinking about it. I think the next thing you do should be a live recording. I'm serious. I would love. I just think this would be a classic recording of you and like some Smokey. I don't know if Smokey's possible, but some New York jazz club, for example, or blues club.
Yeah.
Playing this. I mean, that with an audience, and then we get to hear the clapping, and people. When you say clap your hands, we hear the audience clapping. Right. I mean, I just think that would be awesome to have a live, a live version of you playing.
Well, maybe we could start a petition.
All right. Just tell me where to sign up. I'm in. Would that be petition.gov, or is there a higher power?
Right.
I think that's awesome. All right, so for folks who may not have seen the other 3 appearances you've made on the show, just give us the brief overview of that incredible instrument that you play.
Yeah, this guitar is known as a national steel, made popular by a lot of the blues players from the 30s. a lot of guys who played it back then played it with a slide. This is pretty much like an unconventional slide, a little slide, a little glass tube that would go on the hand, and they play, you know. And so this particular slide, and also another thing is about the national scene. A lot of players would use what's known as an alternate tuning. I pretty much keep a conventional tuning, which allows me to use this type of slide, if that makes any sense. But the body of the guitar is all metal, and it has like a resonator, which gives it that distinct sound. So I've been playing this now for maybe like the last 5 years or so. I think the last few times that I did your show, I may have been playing this instrument. So it's got its own little character to it. So I've fallen in love with it. And it seems that the older it gets, it seems to the metal for some reason seems to age more, which gives it like another sound that I really like, starting to open up now, if you will.
And you would think that a wooden guitar would do that, not a metal guitar.
It does. The wooden guitar does that too, and I was surprised to find out that the metal ones would do the same thing. When I first started to play it, it was a little odd sounding to me. I mean, to some people now, I'm sure it sounds a little odd. My sisters and my wife, they hear it and they're like, can you just a little bit loud? Can you just play something a little softer? You know, but this guitar I think was made actually to play. It's still an acoustic instrument, but at the same time, it's got like this loudness to it.
And that slide on your hand, I'm thinking that probably came in handy growing up in the Bronx, right?
Well,
Pop your eye out with that thing.
My son uses this as some sort of like superhero weapon, you know. But this actually, I guess it does resemble brass knuckles. I guess, you know, like West Side Story thing. You know?
Well, that would just pop your eye out. I mean, brass knuckles you'd have, you know, kind of on the outside of your knuckles, and in your hand it gives you a little extra something. But that with that piece of metal sticking out, I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to get you angry during a concert. You'd pop my eyeball out.
No.
So, so you got the new EP coming out, and do I understand that there's also you're still working on a new CD at the same time?
Exactly. That we started working on first, the CD. And then, like I said, when I had gone down to New Orleans, I met these two guys who actually call themselves the Falcon Brothers. So the three of us got together, and then we just produced the EP. But yeah, I'm actually doing a full-length CD now, which is pretty much in the realm of a blues, a soulful blues, funky blues type of thing.
Oh, that'd be nice. How far off do you think that is?
We're looking at maybe the fall, the producers and I, somewhere in the fall to have it ready. But you never know.
I'd set it aside, Adam, and I'd do a live album. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I just think live Adam Falcon, you know, Adam Falcon at the Blue Note, or you know.
That would be great. Again, get that petition ready. All right. I'd love to do something like that. You know, but I love a lot of live ones. There's something about playing live for me that I really love anyway. You know, I love to be in front of an audience doing some things.
Well, I've never gotten to see you live, so I'd like to hear. You know, I'd like to capture that experience someday.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten to see you live here in a way, you know, few people do. You're playing here for an audience of one, and then if I choose to release this to the public, they can see it. But you know, basically, you're just playing for me. So, you know, how do you decide? I mean, writing songs. So, writing the music is one thing. Writing lyrics, you know, like, you know, let the light shine, or shine, 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 let the light shine. How do you decide, you know, when something should be, you know, accompanied with lyrics and maybe something doesn't, or is everything at this point lyrical?
For the most part, I've been writing. The majority of the songs I've been writing have been music and lyrics, songs which have lyrics. But usually the lyrics just come to me in ways, or the theme will come to me. Like I said, like when I did The Light Shine, that was pretty much, I sort of had the melody in my head and some lyrics in my head. And then in seeing the actual documentary, then it sparked the title, and then the melody goes along with the title and things like that. But there's no real rhyme or reason as to which one comes first, if that's what you're asking, or
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, you know, I mean, it's one thing that you found that you could play the guitar, you found that you could sing, and then writing music, that's a whole other skill set. And so
when I was a kid, my mom used to take my sister and I to see a lot of musical theater, and I fell in love with just watching some of the great composers' music unfold. Like we'd go see West Side Story, and I'd love I can't think of the guy's name now. I know Leonard Bernstein did the conducting, and his name will come to me. And then Rodgers and Hart, a lot of their songs, when you listen to The Sound of Music. So I always loved a good lyric, and listening to a lot of jazz music and blues growing up, I always understood what a good melody was. But then to marry the melody and the lyric together is a certain skill. So I really fell in love with a lot of that in going to, like I said, my mom taking me to see a lot of Broadway performances.
All right. Now, the second song that you're going to do, 5 Minutes, I'm guessing this was inspired by Sam Kinison?
Funny you should say.
No, it was a joke. I was kidding.
Because I had a friend of mine who wasn't familiar with Bill Hicks.
Oh.
I said, well, do you know Sam Kinison? Yeah, him I know.
Maybe that's the way to go for another album, is to do it all inspired. I mean, you get great publicity out of it, right? Because everybody like, oh, which is the song inspired by Robin Williams? The Dead Comedians album. There's Dead Poets Society, Dead Comedians album. Yeah. All right, so this song is going to be 5 minutes. Which is also on The Light Shines. And by the way, have you played these out or for recording like this?
Not. The last one I've never played. I've never played. We played it in the studio. I mean, and that pretty much was actually just added to the EP while we were working on it, because the EP only had like 5 songs, and then we decided to go back and put one more. The producer had heard The Light Shines, and so we added that on there. But the song had never really been played anywhere before.
Oh, cool.
So I'm sort of like going out on a wire. I don't know what made me pick it now. It's like, okay, well, let's just try it. But 5 minutes has been played a few times. I've played that in front of people a few times in different settings.
So if it's not about Sam Kinison, what do you want us to know about it?
5 minutes is pretty much if you could just recapture a moment with somebody or something. If you can just get 5 minutes with that one person or that one moment, if you can just get it back.
Nice. All right. Well, if you're ready, folks, this is 5 Minutes by my friend Adam Falcon. This is from the upcoming EP, The Light Shines.
Smiling at me like a morning dew. Only 5 minutes with you, Gloria. You gave me life and love, everything that's true. Only 5 minutes with you. I will be strong, won't take too long. Only 5 minutes. 5 minutes to say all the things I wish I said. The moment shared time spent, and all the things I never did what I meant to do. In only 5 minutes, just 300 seconds. Father, carry your name, then I gave it to my one and only son. In only 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes with you, I will be strong. Won't take too long, no, no, no. Only 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, only 5 minutes.
That's a beautiful song. It's funny. It actually could be the Sam Kinison song. You know, who wouldn't like to have 5 more minutes with Sam?
It depends.
Well, okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Which Sam? At what time of his career? You know.
That's right.
You're right. There are certain times where maybe we wouldn't want to have 5 minutes with. Maybe 60 seconds would be too much.
It's like that's enough. That's enough, Sam.
So, all right. So before we kind of wrap up, I was kind of wondering. You've played since Art Deco Weekend. You've played again with Doug Wimbish, right?
Right. We've played a couple of times. We just did a show together, Doug Wimbish and Friends, which was like amazing. The end of last year. And it's always like a pleasure to play with him because he's one of the premier bass players that's on the scene today. So we did a show. Actually, it was up in Connecticut at a little small club called Sully's, and it was like around the holiday time. And he had like some amazing musicians with him. Another great guitar player by the name of Paul Pascal played, and some other musicians. He had like a whole bunch of guys come up and play. So yeah, I see Doug from time to time. He's actually on tour now, but I'm thinking about having him. He and I would talk about doing some recordings together. So that should be kind of interesting in the near future.
That'd be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, now, you also opened for Tower of Power recently, right?
That was great. That was those guys have been legendary in my book, and it was great to get an opportunity to open for them. Dave Garibaldi on drums is still pretty much like some of the same guys that have been there since the band's been together. They're still like knocking it out. I mean, the band sounds great, and they put on a very good show. Yeah, so it was a pleasure to open for them.
I've never seen them live, which surprises me from all my years in the 80s covering live music. I never saw them live, but what I've seen them on film or on video, I mean, they're just the energy and just, it's kind of like I'm thinking also like the Dirty Dozen brass band, I think it is from New Orleans. Just that incredible power and the horns and the energy. It's just holy cow.
Yeah, and that's the feeling that I got just when I got a chance to see them. I mean, I got there early enough for sound check, and those guys, like I said, they were just blazing, killing.
All right, so the Light Shines EP, mid-March, be out there for people, and then there'll be a new CD probably in the fall. Between now and then, will people be able to see you? I don't know, maybe in the New York area? We'll be playing some live gigs?
Yeah, there's a couple of shows coming up. Right now with this thaw that we're having, a lot of clubs are like, we don't want to have anything to do with people trying to come out and see us. So pretty much in the springtime, there are a few clubs that I got lined up to play. So if you can just check my website and all the social networks that have Adam Falcon involved, you'll be able to find out where I'll be. But there's some stuff coming up as soon as the weather thaws out.
All right. And if someone is interested in bringing you to their club, they could get in touch with you through AdamFalcon.com?
Yes, they can. Or like I said, you can go through Facebook and get me Adam Falcon fan base. I love to be liked.
Like him, folks. Like him. He's a very, very likable dude. Trust me here. All right. Well, folks, most likely by the time you see this, because a lot of people don't see it the day it airs, but at the time you see this, you can probably order Adam Falcon's The Light Shines EP. The minute it's available, we'll have it on this page. If you're watching on MrMedia.com, either over there or over there, to the left or the right beneath the video, you'll see the cover of the EP. Click on it. You can download it, or you can order it as a physical record. And also further below that, one of my favorites, Bohemian 959, also available. There's a link for that. So send this man some love. Send him some money. Let's see. We mentioned AdamFalcon.com. You're on Facebook. Are you a Twitter guy or any of the others?
Twitter, you can catch me on Twitter. Yes, Adam_Falcon at Twitter.com. You can check a lot of songs out on SoundCloud, Adam_Falcon and SoundCloud. So wherever there's a social network, social media, you'll find me there.
All right. I was just thinking before you go, I don't think it was when you were on with Doug and Keith, but before that, I joked about the Falcon comic book. Did you see the last Captain America movie with the Falcon?
No,
oh, come on!
I didn't go. I can't get. I got like 2 little kids, and
oh,
try to get a babysitter. But it's funny you say that, because my son, and I have an old. I should have pulled this out. I have an old Falcon comic book, and my son loves to look at it. I say, no, don't mess up the picture. But he loves it. So, and he loves the character of the Falcon too. But when we toyed about the idea of going to see the Spider-Man movie, he got like a little nervous about it. You know, so maybe we gotta wait till he's like a little older. So
how old?
He's 7.
Right on the verge of that. I can see that. Well, what you got to see is it's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I'm sure you can get it like on demand now. You don't even have to leave the house. Well, your son would be very excited to see that there is a character as cool as Sam, who plays the Falcon. It's awesome. I also think that the character is from the Bronx. I want to say.
Wow, really?
I'm pretty confident that he's he's a former military guy, but I want to say he's from the Bronx. I'll stand corrected. I'm sure there'll be some comic book geek out there that'll get hold of me if I got that wrong. So anyway, Adam Falcon, Mr. 4th time guest on Mr. Media. We should just have a couch here in the home studio with your name on it, because I think there's only one overall guest who's actually been on more often. That's sports writer Peter Gallenbach. So you have a special place for us.
That's good to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Really.
Come back anytime. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today on Mr. Media.
Thank you, Bob.
Hi, this is Buzz Burbank in the Buzz Burbank Newsroom, preparing for you another Buzz Burbank news and comment. Do you like good stories? Boy, I sure do. I turn over a lot of stones each day to make sure I don't miss the best ones. Sure, some make me angry, and some make me sad, and some make me laugh, and isn't that what makes us human? I'm proud of the fact that I pack more news into my 10 or 15 minutes a day than the evening news does in a half hour. It's a free podcast at buzzburbank.com, or you can subscribe free at iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or get it on any RSS device. It's like a newspaper for your head. It's Buzz Burbank News and Comment, another Realm Network presentation. Weekday mornings right here on the Realm Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Prepare for awesome mediocrity.
We're the Cousin Oliver of the Realm Network. I'm George.
And I'm Tony.
And we're a weekly family-friendly podcast about pop culture.
From our point of view.
At realmnetwork.com. The George and Tony Entertainment Show from the Realm Network.
This is Snake. Do you read me, Otacon?
Loud and clear, Snake.
Did you listen to the latest episode of the Gaming Marathon on the Realm Network?
Of course. They really know their stuff about gaming, especially that Usud guy.
Yeah, but that Chirac guy is a real jerk. I don't like him.
Regardless, their reviews are spot on and they tell it like it is.
That's for sure.
What happened, Snake? Were you spotted?
Nah, it's just Lowell Meltzer crying about the O's again.
Close call.
I better continue the search for Metal Gear, but keep listening to the Gaming Marathon each week.
You got it, Snake.
New every Monday afternoon right here on the Realm Network.
It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Hi, this is Mark. And this is Lowell. And if you're fans of Don and Mike, you may know who we are.
Our number one interns. You've met them on the show. They're the guys that ate all the junk, and they were outside with each other holding hands with a sign that said that they loved each other wearing the dunce caps.
And what you may not know is that we started out as fans back in their WAVA days.
Hi, Don and Mike. It's Mark and Lowell.
Oh, yeah. Hey, these are two guys that we once actually called them our proteges, didn't we?
And now we have our own show, so we want you to give it a shot. Just check us out at the Realm Network, realmnetwork.com, or you can go to markandlowell.com.
Resistance is futile. It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Every Tuesday and Thursday evenings right here on the Realm Network. And catch the Poor Premium Show Friday nights.